In the Democratic Socialist candidate for Congress, Rebecca Parson. All right, Rebecca, so any house, any structure, any building, you're saying rise up and occupy it. Doesn't that seem a little dangerous?
Well, I'm not calling on anybody to break the law. I'm just pointing out the fact that there are 600,000 homeless people in this country, 40,000 homeless veterans, and 1 in 5 homeless people are kids. Meanwhile, we have 28 empty homes for every homeless person. So I'm calling on all of us to think about the empty homes that are owned by corporations like BlackRock, like Zillow, like the banks, that are owned by those companies, those large corporations, and not being used for what they're intended for, which is actually housing people.
But if a bank owns a house that's foreclosed, someone that wants the house is able to buy it, but they can't buy it if there's a homeless person in there. What happens if they move in and some guy's just sleeping on the floor?
Well, I'm calling on us to think about buildings that have been empty for a while, that are owned by corporations. You're not having a lot of buyers coming looking at them. They're just sitting empty, and there are a lot of houses like that, both in places like here in Washington State and across the country. And so I think that in the richest country on earth, we should not have anybody who's homeless living on this street, especially not 40,000 veterans, especially not 120,000 kids.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if that's the right way to go about the homeless issue. What about ICE? You want to abolish ICE? Who's going to deport all the criminal illegal aliens?
Well, actually, decades ago, even during the Reagan era, this was before ICE, and we managed the immigration system fine. I think there's existing, pre-ICE law enforcement that can deal with immigration, but at the same time...
Wait, what do you mean? Who would that be?
Well, for example, local police, Customs and Border Patrol. There's also
but local police
right
can't handle immigration law. You need ICE because you got to get these people out of the country that are dangerous, right?
We managed fine before ICE, and what I'm really concerned about is the fact that all across the country, including in my district, there are 28 homes, empty homes for every homeless person. Why do we have veterans sleeping on the street who went to serve their country, and now they can't even find a place to live? And so I'm asking people to think about this situation, this problem we have. Politicians just pay lip service to it. They say they're going to do something about it, and they don't. They act like the problem is way too complicated to solve. Meanwhile, it just gets worse and worse and worse. We actually in Tacoma had people who were encamped on the site of an encampment from the Great Depression 100 years ago. Then it was called a Hooverville. Now it's called a tent city. So if in 100 years we couldn't solve this problem and it's only gotten worse, we need to take a different way of looking at this issue. We need to look at all these empty homes, have people live in them.
I agree the politicians have paid lip service to dealing with the homeless. I just don't know if migrating into abandoned buildings is the best way. You also wanted to raise the minimum wage to $30 an hour. Do you think that might help with inflation?
Well, actually, some studies have found that 60% of inflation is due to corporate price gouging. And with the $30 minimum wage, I realize that's much higher than it is right now. But if you look at the MIT living wage calculator, all across the country, not just in blue states, high-cost blue states like Washington, all across the country, counties in Michigan, Arkansas, Mississippi, $30 is the minimum living wage for an adult to be able to support a child. And if we restructured the way we do incentives with the government, for example, the government has given over $4 billion in subsidies to Elon Musk. But when was the last time they gave a subsidy to a small business owner? I'm a small business owner myself. And if we had the government subsidizing small business owners to pay their employees a living wage, that would go a long way.
Do you pay $30 an hour?
I do, yeah.
You do? Now, do you know that if other people pay $30 an hour for minimum wage, they might not have a business after that? But that might be what you want, because then they can go out of business and then the homeless people can move into the old building. Listen.
Absolutely not.
All right,
no.
Rebecca, I got to go. This has been enlightening. I think we would agree to disagree. But good luck in your race. And I'm not sure if you're going to win, but if you do win, God bless you. And God bless the people in Washington. Thank you so much.